I need to document what happened to my family starting last November, till now. My therapist suggested writing it down might help process what we're still dealing with. My name is Kevin, and we live in a thriving, family-friendly suburb outside of Austin, Texas. End of last November, Katrina decided we were doing Elf on the Shelf with Chris. He'd just turned 6. Right in that sweet spot where Christmas still feels like magic instead of a checklist. For weeks, her social media feeds had been flooded with it. Moms posting their elves tangled in Christmas lights, perched in cereal boxes, zip-lining across living rooms on candy canes. Every morning, a new setup, a new punchline, a new, how did they even think of that idea? She'd show me clips like they were breaking news, laughing and saving posts, building a little library of mischief like she was prepping for a campaign. So she bought the doll early, weeks earlier before the rush hit, and hid it in our closet like contraband. She talked about the rules the way people do when they want something to feel official. Chris couldn't touch it, one rule that was broken immediately. It would move while he slept. It would report back to the North Pole. The plan was simple and airtight. December 1st, Chris would wake up to find his elf had arrived, like it had traveled through the night just to land in our house. Proof that the season had started, and we were officially in it. That morning, we placed it on the mantle with the little book that explains how Santa sends these elves to watch over children during the Christmas season. Chris was thrilled. He walked right up to it, stared at its face for a long moment, then turned to us. "Lars says hello." Katrina smiled. "Lars, that's a perfect name for your elf." "No, Mom," Chris said, very matter-of-fact. "He told me his name is Lars." We figured he was just getting into the spirit of it. The whole point is that the elf is real and reports back to Santa each night. Chris was always imaginative. The first week went perfectly. After Chris went to bed, we'd move Lars' kitchen counter with his arms in the cookie jar, hanging from the ceiling fan, wrapped in toilet paper like a mummy. Chris would race through the house each morning to find him, delighted every time. It was actually fun. Family tradition in the making. That changed on December 10th. That night, we'd put Lars in Chris's room, sitting on his bookshelf, holding a little note that said, "Sweet dreams." Around 12:30 a.m., Chris's screaming woke the entire house. Not a nightmare scream. This was terror. He burst into our bedroom, sobbing so hard he could barely speak. When we finally calmed him down enough to talk, he said Lars had moved. Not just moved, crawled across his shelf while he watched. And the growling. He kept talking about the growling. "Buddy, Lars can't move by himself," I told him. "It was just a bad dream." "No, Dad. I was awake." He was looking at me and making that sound. Chris slept in our bed that night, and the next 3 nights. Katrina thought maybe we'd taken the game too far, putting Lars in his room. I agreed. We'd keep him in common areas from then on. Chris later informed us that Lars apologized, and they were friends again. December 14th. We'd staged Lars in the kitchen with flour, make it look like he'd been making snow angels on the counter. Harmless. We went to bed around 11. I woke up at 3 a.m. to footsteps, soft but distinct, like a child walking through the house. My first thought was Chris had gotten up for water. I got out of bed to check on him. He was sound asleep in his room, but there were footprints in the hallway. Small, white footprints leading from the kitchen to our bedroom door. They looked like they belonged to Chris, but maybe a little bigger. They stopped right at the threshold, like something had stood there, watching us sleep. I followed them back to the kitchen. The flour on the counter was untouched. Our container of flour was still sealed, still in the pantry. Whatever made those prints, it wasn't from our staged scene. I cleaned them up before Katrina woke. Told myself Chris must have done it somehow. Sleepwalking, maybe. But when I got back to our bedroom, Lars was on my nightstand. We'd left him in the kitchen. December 16th is when I started keeping him locked up. I put Lars in a box in the garage, didn't tell Chris, just said Lars had to go back to the North Pole for a few days. Chris cried, but I didn't care. Something was wrong with that thing. 2 nights later, around 2 a.m., our car alarm started going off in the garage. Not the alarm, the horn. Steady, rhythmic honks, like someone was pressing it deliberately. I grabbed the bat we keep by the bed and went to check. The garage door was still locked from the inside. No windows broken. But when I flipped on the light, Lars was sitting in the driver's seat of my car. The box I'd locked him in was still sealed, still on the shelf where I'd put it. I opened the box. Empty. When I looked back at the car, Lars was gone. I found him on Chris's bed the next morning. Chris was thrilled. "Lars came back, Dad. I told you he was real." December 19th. I locked Lars in my toolbox. Metal. Padlock. Katrina thought I was losing it, but she saw my face. She knew something had happened. That night, I woke to burning pain on my leg, like someone was dragging hot needles across my shin. When my eyes adjusted to the darkness, I saw it. In the corner of our bedroom stood something that shouldn't exist. 7 feet tall, wrapped in what looked like a monk's robe, but the fabric was wrong. It moved like smoke, darker than the darkness around it. Where its face should have been was nothing, a void, except for 2 points of dull red light where eyes might be. Its hands, Christ, those weren't hands. Too many joints, fingers that bent in ways that made my stomach turn. They were cradling Lars like an infant. The scratches on my leg were forming patterns, symbols. They looked ancient, deliberate. I couldn't move, couldn't scream, could only watch as this thing slowly tilted its head, or what should have been its head, toward me. Then it spoke, not with a voice, but directly into my mind. The child invited us. Katrina woke up to my screaming. When she turned on the light, the thing was gone. But Lars was on the floor where it had stood, and my leg was covered in bloody scratches that took weeks to heal. Some of them formed shapes that looked almost like text in a language I'd never seen. December 20th. I drove Lars to the Williamson County landfill at dawn, threw him as deep into the garbage as I could, watched the bulldozer cover that section with tons of trash. We had 1 week of peace. 1 week where Chris kept asking about Lars and we kept making excuses. 1 week where I started to think maybe it was over. December 27th. The doorbell rang at dinner time. No one was there. But Lars was on our porch, covered in coffee grounds and rot, smiling that same fixed smile. That's when I decided to burn it. I didn't even bring it inside. Grabbed the lighter fluid from the garage, the metal drum we use for burning brush, set it up in the backyard while Katrina kept Chris distracted inside. I doused that thing with half a bottle of lighter fluid. The fire roared to life, flames shooting up 5 feet. When I dropped Lars in, the doll landed face up, staring at me through the flames. Then it started screaming. Not melting plastic sounds, not the hiss of burning fabric. This was a voice, multiple voices, shrieking from inside that thing. The sound lasted maybe 30 seconds, but those 30 seconds felt like hours. Every dog in the neighborhood started howling. When the screaming stopped, the fire changed. The orange flames turned blue, then almost white, so bright it hurt to look at. The heat coming off it was wrong, cold and hot at the same time. It smelled like sulfur mixed with something sweet and rotting. The fire burned for 3 hours without me adding a single piece of wood. Just kept burning that unnatural white blue. Lars's face still visible through the flames. Never melting, never charring. Just staring. When it finally died, I waited for the ashes to cool. Then I sifted through every single one. Used a screen, like panning for gold. Nothing. No plastic, no fabric, no metal button eyes. Not even residue. Just clean ash from the original wood in the drum. Lars was gone. Completely gone. I told Chris that Lars had to stay at the North Pole permanently. He cried for days. Katrina and I agreed. No more Christmas traditions. We'd deal with the disappointment. Anything was better than what we'd experienced. We made it through January, February. By summer, it felt like a shared nightmare. We even started couples therapy, trying to process what we'd been through. The therapist, of course, had logical explanations. Stress, sleep deprivation, carbon monoxide hallucinations. We let her believe that. Then, December 1st of this year, I went to check the mail. Our mailbox was stuffed with a box. No postage, no address, just our names written in crayon, child's handwriting. I knew before I opened it. Inside was an elf on the shelf, but the edges of its felt were blackened, singed. It smelled like a cold fireplace, like something that had been burned and reconstituted. It was Lars. Before I could grab it, Chris came running out of the house. He'd been eating breakfast, but somehow he knew. Lars! He snatched the doll from the box, hugging it to his chest. He came back. He said he would. When did he say that, buddy? My voice was shaking. Last night, in my dream, Lars told me he'd come back today. Chris was practically glowing with joy. He always comes to my dreams to play with me and tell me things. I felt ice in my veins. What kind of things does he tell you? Chris looked up at me with those innocent eyes. Secret things, fun things. And he promised. He said if anyone ever makes him go away again, he'll take me with him. We'll have adventures together forever. I looked at Katrina, who had followed Chris outside. All the color had drained from her face. We both knew what this meant. This thing had been visiting our son's dreams for a year, grooming him, preparing him. That was 3 weeks ago. Lars sits on our mantle now. We don't move him anymore. He moves himself. Chris talks to him constantly. Sometimes when I pass by, I swear I see Lars's head turn slightly to track me. I'm documenting this because I need people to know. If something happens to us, I need someone to understand what we invited into our home, what we let attach itself to our son. The worst part? Chris drew a picture yesterday at school. His teacher called, concerned. It was our family. Me, Katrina, Chris, and Lars. But there were other figures in the background. Tall, hooded shapes, dozens of them. And at the bottom, in Chris's shaky handwriting, he wrote, Lars's family is coming for Christmas. That's in 3 days. I don't know what they are. I don't know what they want. All I know is that we can't run. Chris won't leave without Lars. And Lars won't let us go. If anyone has experienced something like this, please, I need help. We need help. Because I don't think we're going to make it to New Year's. If you're listening to this late at night, do yourself a favor. Pause it when you're done and check your locks. Not because I think what found me can write a signal through your phone, but because I used to believe there were rules to the world. I used to believe that if you did the right thing, the worst you'd get is inconvenience. That belief died on Christmas Eve. My name's Wes. I drove truck for 15 years. Still do, technically, just not the way I used to. Before that, I spent 8 years in the Navy. Honorable discharge. I didn't leave with medals and movie moments, just a body that wakes up at weird hours and a brain wired to scan rooms and count exits without thinking. Trucking fit me. Quiet. Predictable. 1 mile stacked on the next until the day makes sense. And the morning this happened, everything was supposed to make sense. It was early, so early the sky still looked like wet charcoal. Christmas Eve, my last run before heading home. I was 4 hours out from my family after I dropped the final load. 4 hours from my wife and my 4 kids. 4 hours from a house that smelled like cinnamon and laundry detergent and normal life. I was tired, sure, but not sloppy tired. There's a difference. I'd done this long enough to know when your eyelids get heavy and when your instincts start taking naps. Mine were wide awake. The stretch I hated was coming up. The dead zone. 30 miles of mountain highway where the radio fades into static and your phone becomes an expensive paperweight. Winding road, steep drops, tree line packed so tight it feels like the forest is leaning in, trying to inhale your headlights. No towns, no shoulders worth calling a shoulder. Just rock, trees, and dark. I remember thinking, just get through the dead zone, Wes. 4 hours. Then my high beams caught something on the edge of the light. 2 small figures standing on the side of the road. At first I thought they were deer. Wrong height, wrong shape. But the closer I got, the more my stomach tightened. Kids. A boy and a girl. Both about 9 or 10 years old. They were standing 4 feet behind a car that was pulled off on the narrow shoulder of the road. All 4 doors were wide open, like everyone bailed out mid-thought. No adult in sight. No other cars, no hazard lights blinking. Just those open doors and 2 kids standing in the cold like they'd been placed there. My brain threw company policy at me automatically. Don't stop. Don't pick up hitchhikers. Liability, safety. But that's the thing. Policy doesn't mean anything when you see children alone on a mountain road before dawn. I eased my rig onto what little shoulder existed, flashers on, heart tapping harder than it should. I cracked the window first. Old habit. You don't just throw open a door at night. You don't step into unknown. Hey, I called. You two okay? They turned their heads toward me. Not rushed, not startled, just turned. Like dolls pivoting on a pin. They walked up slow, side by side. Perfectly matched pace. No shivering, no hand-wringing, no panic. Their faces were blank. No fear, no relief, nothing. The girl spoke first. We need a ride. Her voice was flat. Not monotone like she was sick. Flat like she was reading the words off a page. Where are your parents? I asked. At the house, the boy said. Same flatness, same calm. He didn't look at the car. He didn't look at the trees. He looked straight at me, like he already knew where I'd land. I nodded toward the abandoned car behind them. What about that? That your folks' car? The girl blinked once. Slow. We don't know anything about that car. That should have been the moment I left. If you're listening and you're thinking, I would have left. Good. Hold on to that. Because what my brain did next was start filling gaps with excuses. Maybe they were scared and were mentally and emotionally shut down. Maybe they were cold and in shock. Maybe one of the adults went for help. Maybe the parents were just up ahead looking for cell service. Maybe. I picked up my mic and tried to raise anyone on the CB, nothing but a hiss. I checked my phone anyway. No bars. Of course. "All right," I said, and I hate myself for how easy it came out. "Get in, but I'm taking you to a police station or a store, somewhere lit. I'm not just driving random kids to a house in the mountains." The boy and girl climbed up into the cab with no hesitation, no thank you, no relief. They moved like they'd done it before, like they belonged in my truck. They sat on the passenger bench, hands folded in their laps, shoulders touching, eyes forward. I pulled back onto the highway. At first, I told myself I was overthinking it. I kept my eyes on the road and tried again. "Names?" I asked. "I'm Wes." They didn't answer right away. Then, together in sync like a rehearsed line, "We need to go home." "Where is home?" I kept my tone controlled. Navy trained me to keep my voice steady when my gut starts yelling. The girl stared out at the dark trees sliding past. "Up ahead." I waited. Nothing else came. I tried a different angle. What happened to the car? "We don't know anything about that car," the boy repeated, word for word. Same inflection, like a recording. 5 minutes passed, then 10. The road climbed and curled through the mountains, the kind of curves that force you to slow down and lean into the wheel. No houses, no driveways, and no mailboxes. I had never seen a house or a structure alongside this road before. Maybe there was a side road I'd never noticed before? As we drove on, the trees were packed in so tight they made the night feel smaller. "All right," I said more forcefully. "That's enough. You tell me where you live or I turn around to the nearest station." Both of them turned their heads toward me at the exact same time. That should not have been as terrifying as it was. The girl's eyes caught the green glow of my dash, and for a split second I saw it. All black, no whites, no irises, no pupils, just a smooth, liquid darkness like spilled oil, reflecting my gauges. I snapped my eyes back to the road so fast my neck popped. My heart started hammering. Not fear hammering, survival hammering. The kind of pounding that comes before your body dumps adrenaline like it's trying to save you from a fall. I tried to breathe, tried to steady my hands on the wheel. "You kids playing games?" I said. It came out thin. The boy spoke without moving much. "You stopped." That's what decent people do when they see kids on a road. My voice was sharper now. "Doesn't mean you get to." "You stopped," he repeated, and his tone made it sound less like a fact and more like a rule being invoked. My GPS, mounted on the dash, flickered. The map vanished into static. Then the whole screen went black like someone had pinched the life out of it. My radio cut out next. It had been low, just a Christmas station fading in and out until it wasn't music anymore. White noise. I reached over, turned it off. The static didn't stop. It kept hissing out of the speakers like the truck was breathing. "What the hell?" I whispered. The girl leaned slightly toward me. I smelled something on her breath. Not kid breath. Not peppermint. Not cereal. Cold air and damp ash, like the smell when you open a fireplace the morning after a fire. "We're going home," she said. Her voice wasn't louder, it was closer, and the air around my left arm went so cold it raised goose flesh through my sleeve. I swallowed hard and checked the mile marker as I passed it. 47. 2 minutes later, I passed another. 46. That made no sense. I was heading north. I knew my route. I'd driven these mountains enough times to recognize where the rock faces changed and where the guardrails bent. I passed 45. Then, after another curve, I passed 46 again. Like the road was looping me. Like the mountain was folding the highway back on itself and pretending nothing was wrong. "No," I said out loud, like saying it could make it real again. "No, no, no." The children spoke together. You let us in. My grip tightened until my knuckles hurt. I'm pulling over, I said. You're getting out. Right now. The boy's mouth moved like he was going to smile, but it didn't become a smile. It became an idea of a smile. The girl said, "You said you would help us." My stomach dropped through the floor of the cab. I said yes to helping kids, I snapped, not whatever you are. They turned their heads toward me again, same time, same angle, and their voices changed. The words were still English, still shaped the same, but the sound underneath warped and deepened, as if something much older was speaking through them, and the kid voices were just a costume. You stopped, they said, layered together now. You opened the door. You invited us in. We are not getting out. You are going to help us. My hands were sweating on the wheel. The air felt thicker, like humidity in winter, wrong in a way my skin couldn't ignore. I was starting to panic. I yanked the wheel and eased onto the shoulder, then slammed the brakes. The trailer groaned. The rig shuddered. Before the truck fully stopped, I threw my door open and jumped. I didn't do it clean. I hit gravel hard, rolled, shoulder exploding with pain, breath knocked out of me. But pain was better than staying in that cab for another second. I scrambled onto my knees and looked up. To my absolute shock and horror, my truck, my livelihood, my home on wheels, was pulling back onto the road. No one in the driver's seat. The steering wheel turned smoothly like invisible hands held it. My door slammed shut, and the rig picked up speed. And through the rear window, framed in the dim interior light, the two children sat perfectly still, facing forward. I watched as my rig pushed off down the road, into darkness, and disappeared around a curve like it had places to be. I sat there in the gravel, heaving, trying to make my brain accept what I'd just seen. Then the mountain went quiet. No wind in the trees. Just my breathing, and the distant fading hiss of my own engine vanishing into the night. I tried my phone. Gone. Maybe I dropped it in the cab. Maybe I lost it when I rolled. Either way, it wasn't in my pocket anymore. I stood up, pain screaming through my shoulder, and started walking. I didn't know if I was walking north or south anymore. The mile markers had already lied to me. But the road was all I had, and the trees on either side were too close, too dense, like they were waiting for me to step off the asphalt. So I stayed on the black ribbon of highway and put one boot in front of the other. That's not poetic. That's just what it was. 3 hours of cold and pain and darkness so complete it felt like something could step out of it at any second. I kept hearing things behind me that I refused to turn around for. Soft footsteps that weren't mine. A faint, distant honk, like a truck horn far away, steady and rhythmic, like a signal. And once, I swear to God, I heard a child's voice singing something that sounded like a Christmas song, but the melody was wrong. Notes bent out of shape like it was being hummed through broken teeth. When headlights finally crested a rise behind me, I almost collapsed from relief. A state trooper rolled up slow, spotlight hitting me. He got out cautious, hand near his belt. "You all right?" he asked. I opened my mouth and the words came out in a rush. Kids, abandoned car, my truck driving itself, the black eyes, the voices. His face didn't change much, but his eyes did that thing cops do when they're mentally sorting you into categories. Drunk, high, crazy, lying, in shock. He gave me a long, skeptical look, but he didn't express any doubts to me about my story. Just got on and did his job anyway. He put me in the cruiser, called in my location, called for backup, and took my statement like it mattered, even if he didn't believe it. We drove back to where I'd stopped. The abandoned car was still there. Doors still open. No kids, no sign of anyone. The trooper ran the plates and we continued on to the barracks. Once there, I gave my full official statement. They put out an alert on my rig immediately, stolen vehicle, possible abduction, all the words that make your blood go cold. They got me home late evening on Christmas Eve. A different trooper drove me all the way so I would make it home in time to see my family. I walked into my house like a man stepping into sunlight after living underground. My wife grabbed me so hard it hurt. My kids piled onto me crying and laughing, not understanding, just relieved. And for a while, just a while, I let myself believe I'd gotten out, that I'd been spared. I lost the truck. I ended up losing my contract with the company I hauled for. You don't just lose a rig and keep your reputation clean. There were investigations, insurance, paperwork, whispers. But I was alive. I kept telling myself that part mattered most. A few days after Christmas, my phone rang while I was at the kitchen table. Unknown number. "Wes," a man said. "Trooper Halverson. You got a minute?" "Yeah," I said, already cold in my gut. "What is it?" "We ID'd the abandoned car you stopped near," he told me. "It belongs to a Paul Owens. He was reported missing 2 days before you came across it. He never made it to his parents for their holiday party." I gripped the edge of the table. "So what happened to him?" "That's the problem," Halverson said. "The car wasn't broken down. Fuel in it, tires fine, keys in the ignition, wallet on the seat, cash still inside, phone still in the car." "Like he just got out," I said. "Like he got out fast," Halverson replied. "All 4 doors were open." My mouth went dry. "Any blood?" "No," he said, "but we found scratches inside. Like a rabid animal had been trapped inside." I stared at the wall. "That is bizarre." A pause. "That wasn't all. We found clawed footprints in the gravel and dirt," he said. "Large ones, all around the car. They also lead away from the car. Then they stop. No trail into the woods. Dogs wouldn't go past a certain point." I forced the next question out. "Did you find those kids?" "No," Halverson said. "We ran missing child reports. County, state. Nothing that matches. Nobody's looking for them." My skin prickled. "So who were they?" Halverson exhaled like he hated his own answer. "Officially, we don't know. Unofficially, I suspect they had something to do with whatever happened to this Paul Owens." Silence sat between us. "And I assume you have no idea what happened to him?" I asked. "Nope, just that he's still missing," he said. Then, quieter, he added, "Wes, there's a file on that stretch of road. Has been for a long time. If you remember anything else, call me." He hung up. I sat there staring at my phone, realizing the worst part wasn't that my truck was gone. It was that whatever took it had already taken a man first, and no one could explain why 2 children would be standing in front of his car. Unless those kids had never belonged to anyone living in the first place. That was 8 years ago. My truck has never been recovered. No burned out shell in a ravine. No stripped frame in a chop yard. No VIN popping up in another state. Just gone. Like the mountain swallowed it. I don't drive that route anymore. I don't drive mountains on Christmas Eve. I don't stop in dead zones no matter what I see on the shoulder. Because I learned something the hard way. Sometimes what looks like it's helpless isn't helpless. Sometimes it's bait. And if you ever find yourself on a dark mountain road with no signal, no radio, nothing but your headlights and those suffocating trees, and you see 2 small figures standing by an abandoned car with all the doors open, keep going. Don't slow down. Don't roll your window down. Because the moment you stop, the moment you open the door, that's not kindness anymore. That's permission.